Hi there, I'm Dr. Marcia Nelson, and this I think is the 7th video on social and behavioral skills that we want our children to build and come to have by the time they're in school and even older. I'll talk about that a little bit. I want you to know, certainly when they're young, they're starting to babble back at you because you've imitated for them sounds that they're making just randomly, and they're looking at you, they're smiling. Those are the early things we look for. When they're 2, certainly they're starting to have awareness of other kids and liking seeing them. If you see any outward acting out in an aggressive way, you certainly want to go over and help model for them what is important in terms of using words instead of action, and having them be comfortable with the other child if possible. Otherwise, separate them and not have that opportunity for any aggression. They will start showing the enjoyment of playing with another child, and by 2.5 to 3, they're starting to give a name to certain children if they've been in a pre-K or child development center. So you listen for those things, because it might be that child is going to become a friend, and you're going to look for that by the time they're 3.5, that they say children's names and they might want to get with them and be a part of some play activity with them, or have them to a birthday party or something like that. They'll initiate with that child and carry on differently from when they're just by the other children and playing their own thing. They're actually starting to interact, so you do look for that. By 4, you're looking that they share, that they enjoy cooperating with another child, building something, that they're noticing adults and others who are unfamiliar to them with different reactions than when someone's very familiar to them. They will show sympathy and empathy by then. If a child falls down, you want to see if they can come over and be helpful to that child. That's a very important thing. They start actually showing some caring for the earth, or picking up garbage or things that are not helpful to us in our daily activities. And so they get this sense, besides sympathy for another person, empathy for what's needed in our society for keeping it healthy. You'll see more affection giving, but again, if it's a stranger, you don't want to see overly affectionate behaviors. That's all in that 4th year. They, by 4 and 5, are initiating a lot more, and by the time you're having them enter school, you want to have practiced their address, their first and last name, maybe even first, middle, and last name, their parent name, and a phone number. So you start practicing phone numbers by saying them, and you might just practice a few of those 7 numbers at first, so that they have that skill to be able to get you called if it's not on an emergency card or something like that. All right, they we can do group activities. You've seen them get into a little circle somewhere and do things that the other kids are doing. And if everybody's in a sandbox and building, they can go over and realize, oh, I can do that too. So that's good. They're starting to say children's names. They participate willingly in lots of things asked of them, and you want to see that they can follow directions. You want to see that they know how to separate from you and stay in a different situation from where you're going and be okay. They might cry at first, but they're okay after a minute or so. So you ask your teachers and so forth about that. They want to be able to maintain a focus on something. You don't want a child always talking about the same thing, playing with the same thing, wanting the same book. It's okay to do some of that, but you also want to see that they have some diversity in their interests. Self-confidence is hard to describe, except that they act in the group like they can do it. Self-confidence in saying something when you're sitting as a family together. Self-confidence to know where something is to go get it because mama wants it. And that's there's just a lot of little things to look at for self-confidence. You want them to be able to do little motor things and large motor things with other children so that they're learning how to interact, because interaction is what we definitely look for, and we help them build those skills if they're not doing much interaction with others. You want to see that they can transition. You might give a warning signal statement before you're getting ready to go to the store. And again, I think this is an important time when you're going somewhere, an appointment or something at school or some meal out. You want to be able to be prepared for those things with either an activity book or some papers with a simple crayon so that they can be doodling, or they can have a snack if they're waiting for a while. Waiting is a hard thing for young children, no doubt about it. And give words to those things about how we're going to go and do X, Y, Z. Talk about that kind of thing so that you want to be the best model for the things you want them to be learning. If you expect respect, you want to be showing respect to all the others in the home and talking about those things. Certainly talk about feelings, because we all have upset or anger or frustration, but what do we do with that? And you can model those sorts of things also. You talk about rules and things that are expected of them, because that's definitely needed in school. Two of the best rules to send a child to school with are to respect their elders and to be kind to their peers, kind to the other children. Those are two things that are real important before school years. Give your child opportunities to stay with a trusted adult at a certain point so that they know how to build friendships with other adults also. And try to pre-plan that, if it's a babysitter, to have them have an activity in mind to do with your child and ask them, hey, what are you going to be doing? Expect good social skills, that kids are friendly, that they are going to share. And certainly you're looking for that by 3 1/2 and 4. Teach them right from wrong. We used to have lots of stories with a moral signature to it, an ethic, a value, such that they know, oh, that's what we're learning here. We're learning how to be kind. We're learning how to be truthful. We're learning how to not behave in a negative way. Some children will come into school kicking and screaming and scratching teachers and biting, and those things are not going to be okay, so you might as well put that in your plan prior to school years. And then talk about how to be a good friend. And what do you think is important of being a friend? You might think that it's so wordy, just like my video here, but words really help children and discussing things, because they might not know the word respect, but you can show them. Here's when you're older, like see your older brother, here's how he does a handshake to show respect to a person when he's meeting them. Those kinds of things. So I'll leave you to contact me if you have other questions, but I think these are the key things you want such that children have success in their school years and child development centers. Thank you. I've appreciated all of you who have gotten in contact before, and I might not be doing many of these videos in the future, but thank you for being with me. Thanks. Bye.